What's going on, guys? Today we're out in the backyard and we're going to be doing some exercise, okay? So for number one video of my bodyweight series, we're going to be doing the push-up. It's probably the first exercise most people go to when they're starting to learn how to exercise and learn how to train. And it's one of my most favorite exercises of all time. One, because it's calisthenics, so all you need is your body to do it. And number two is that it's so versatile. You can do this in so many different ways, it's not even funny. You can target multiple areas of the body and musculature. And it's just a great all-round exercise. So before we get into the technique and how to do that perfect push-up, we're going to go through the anatomy of the push-up, the muscles we'll be using and how they work together to give us that perfect push-up. So the main muscle group being worked obviously is the chest, our pectoralis major and pectoralis minor. They're going to be the prime movers in the push-up. Second muscle group we're going to be working mainly, so majorly, is our delts, our anterior and medial delts, and then our triceps as well. They're going to help us extend our arms through the push-up. Some supporting muscle groups that are going to help us stabilize our core. Obviously our transverse abdominis, that's going to help keep our spine nice and straight through the push-up so we're not getting any kind of hips to the ground sag and things like that. And also our glutes are going to help keep our pelvis nice and straight. So again, we're not getting any sag through our hips and our spine. So now we'll get into the technique of the push-up. It's really simple, it's really easy, but it does take a bit of practice to get it perfect. And then when you do, bang on, you got it, no worries. So let's get into it. When we're in, we'll set up. So we're going to try and set up for a standard push-up, just a basic push-up. We're going to set up with our hands underneath our shoulders, a bit wider than shoulder width apart. That's where it's comfortable. It doesn't have to be exact, just wherever you feel comfortable doing it is going to give you your best chance of success. I'm going to go straight out onto our feet. You can have them close together or a little bit apart. I like to have them a little bit apart. And then the important part here is when we're at the top of our push-up is to have our shoulders protracted. So that means we're pushing our shoulders through to our hands, if that makes sense. So this is so when we have our shoulders retracted, we're kind of like this, we're kind of sagging a little bit. We want to push our shoulders up and push them forward towards the ground so we have them protracted. That's going to give us our full range of motion, as well as allow us to get the proper and perfect technique. So we're up in this position. We're going to turn our core on by trying to bring our ribs to our hips. So that's a good way to try and activate your transverse abdominis. Guys, a good cue for this is try and pull your nuts up. It's a bit of a weird one, but a lot of guys will know exactly how that feels. So when you say, yep, try and pull your nuts up to your stomach, instantly they turn on their TVA. So that's one of those cues. But for anyone else, try and get your ribs and your hips, try and bring that closer. Breathe out, and then stand your chest up nice and straight. It's hard, again, to get that, but once you get it, it's easy as. So we're going to turn our core on, and we're going to turn our glutes on at the same time, and that's going to keep our spine nice and straight in a neutral position. So back to our position. So at the moment, I don't have my core turned on. Breathing out, turn my glutes on, shoulders protracted. We're going to have a little bit of spinal curve. That's okay, that's our neutral spine. We don't have to be perfectly straight. We can have a little bit of spinal curve because that's the natural curvature of our spine, our spinal curve. And from here, we're going to, the technique, we're going to retract our shoulders first. So we're going to drop our shoulders into that shoulder joint or into that shoulder socket, if that makes sense. So we're not going from here down. We're going to go down, retract our shoulders, and then from there, we're going to try and get our elbows out on a 45. And that's how we're going to lower ourselves down. Don't just drop into it. Make sure you're controlling your descent. So we're from here, retracting, coming down, chest to the ground. Don't lay on the ground, don't release there. Keep your body up nice and straight. And then from here, with our shoulders still retracted, pushing up to there, and then we protract at the end. So one more time, we retract, pushing down, pushing back up with our shoulders still retracted, and then up and through. Keeping our core on the same time, making sure our body's nice and straight. Some don'ts for the push-up. We don't want to be doing this. Pushing down and then, if you can't do a push-up straight, that's a good sign that you're not yet strong enough to do it, which is totally fine. So all you got to do is regress the movement. So if you can't do that form, like at least good enough to where you can come up all at one motion, then we got to regress it. So take it back a little bit step. It's okay if you can't do it perfect initially. So to regress the movement, there's two ways that I find the easiest and the ways I used when I was trying to practice push-ups. First one is just on your knees. This is really common. So we're just putting our knees on the ground, getting our hands in that same position, turning our core and bum on again, and then all we do is with our knees on the ground, just pushing up from there. That's an awesome regression. It just takes a lot of the strain off the core, which is where we get this problem, because we don't have the strength in our back, our glutes and our core to keep our body nice and straight. So this eliminates that problem a lot. The second regression that I personally like to do, and this is the way I started push-ups. When I started push-ups, I couldn't even do one on the ground. I think I was about 13 years old and I couldn't do a push-up. I was terrible. But the way I started was on a bench or a chair. So come around here. So basically what I would do, this just takes a lot of the load just directly off your body. So I just set up on a chair like this, or a table, and basically just pushed up until I pushed from there up and through. So that's just going to help take a lot of load off the upper body, and especially the core, so you don't have to obviously keep your body up. You've got a lot of support from your legs there. Less load, easier to work if you're not as strong. It's going to regress the exercise and you can build up strength with those. You can still turn that into a very challenging workout. Same with any other push-ups. So now that we've done the regressions, we're going to get into some of the progressions of the push-up, which is where it gets hard. So progressions or variations of the push-up. Straight away, you've probably seen, come back around this side. Straight away, a lot of calisthenics videos, there's the three main ones that I've always seen, which is wide grip, standing grip, and triangle or close grip. And you also see that in a lot of bench press, and there's a reason for that. So coming down, our wide grip. So we've got our standard position here, our wide grip, going a lot wider than shoulder width apart. And for this, personally, I like to turn my hands a little bit out. Just makes it easier when you come down, so you're not in such a tight position with the outside of your wrist and your elbows. So going out from there, same thing, retracting our shoulders in and using our body and using our strength to control, there's ants on my hand, using our strength to control the movement. So we don't want to go and drop down. We want to contract, retract our shoulders, keep our core nice and tight, using our muscles to help control us down, pushing back up and through, down, up and through. And then the close grip. So this one's obviously going to target our triceps more, just given the nature of the movement. So I like to do a triangle, but I've seen people do whatever shapes they want, whatever suits your fancy. Okay, so from here, same thing, we're going to retract our shoulders in, pushing out, pushing up with our triceps, making sure we lock out, and then protracting again. So retraction, control, push, extend, and then protract again. So they're two variations. So obviously there's heaps of variations for the push-up, not just those two. Just using your own body weight, you can obviously change your angle. That's a good way to target the different areas of the chest. You can do incline push-ups, decline push-ups, handstand push-ups. If you really want to challenge, do them off a wall for even more of a challenge. Then you can do one-handed push-ups, military push-ups, close grip push-ups, all different kinds of things. Hundreds online. All you have to do is look it up, and you can find literally so many variations. If you want to even go even further and make it even more of a challenge, you can use different implements. So one I used to do was with circular dumbbells. You could push up, push down, and then roll each one out in kind of like an archer push-up, where you're changing side to side. You would do that with a dumbbell, and that was one of the craziest, very dangerous exercise for your shoulders, but it was one of the craziest push-up variations I've ever done. You can obviously do explosive push-ups, clap push-ups, jumping push-ups. Also, you can do banded push-ups. So there's a more resistance at the top of your rep than there is at the bottom. Chained if you want, weighted with a weight vest, have someone sit on you. There is literally so many variations. And then you can go into other ones like TRX push-ups, kettlebell push-ups. TRX push-ups, awesome, especially if you want to work your stabilizer muscles. I guarantee if you jump on a TRX now and you haven't done any TRX push-ups, you'll be like this. Because you've not trained those stabilizer muscles, and it shows. If you could do a perfect push-up on the ground, jump on a TRX, and I challenge you to do 20 reps on a TRX. That's a different kind of workout as well. So literally so many variations. It's such a versatile exercise, and I do not believe that push-ups should be used just as a warm-up or a burner at the end. You can definitely program them into some very, very, very challenging workouts. I have in the past, and they've kicked my butt more than any bench press set has ever done. So yeah, write it down, put it into your notebook, try and use it as best you can within your workouts. They're always good for a chest and shoulder workout. And I'm looking forward to seeing you guys in the next bodyweight series video. Could be doing the pull-up, could be doing the dip, could be doing sit-ups or whatever. So I look forward to seeing you guys there. Hope you enjoyed the video. Remember to like, share and subscribe, and see you in the next one. Peace.